Everybody, it's Mike here. Just a little update on our chicken coop. Last video you saw, we were working on this, the time-lapse video, and we've just been chipping away at little projects that we've been going on here and there, like running electrical, putting in the doors. I put in the roosting bars, the ramp, and a few other things which we'll show you today. So I'm going to have you come on in here and I'll show you first. So we installed the lights up here. They're just simple clip lights, and we have the heat light right there, and you'll see that all the roosting bars are nice and lit. We're probably going to decrease it from a 250 watt to 150 watt. And then we just have a simple light here, and what we're going to end up doing is, just so it's a little bit more energy efficient, is we're just going to grab an LED light, 60 watt equivalent LED light. They're about $8. So it'll hold up pretty well. Over here I went ahead and ran electrical in right here. This is just a 12 gauge cable right here coming in, and just a regular light socket, and I did install a GFCI just because you never know if it's going to get wet. And then we have the surge protector here just for extra plugs. Right down here where you see this 5-gallon bucket, this is where all of the water will be, and it won't be a 5-gallon bucket, of course, but we're hoping to put some of those self-filling water cups. And then over here we have the guillotine door. The last video that you saw, it was about this tall, and I wasn't exactly sure how high I was going to put it, but the only problem is with this being a polymer shed, I did not want to have all of this weight actually sitting on this polymer shed, because the sun does hit this pretty hard. So anyways, so I just made some legs here, not some legs, but I just recut the wood and made it 16 inches off the ground, because this is going to be the deep litter method, I think my wife was saying. And then I'm going to install a motor up here, so that way we can this can turn on and off with a timer. But this is just a simple guillotine door like you saw in the other video. It opens and closes. That's right around 16 inches right there. So if it turns out that the chickens need to get out some more, they can. And it'll still have plenty of room for this to cover. I did cut the notches for the door a little bit closer to the one side of the 2x4, so that way it's closer to the door. And this is quite sturdy right here. So what you're seeing flexing here is the just the polymer wall. And then of course, let me go ahead and lift this up, because this lets a really nice breeze in here. And we've been out here working all day, so any breeze is a good breeze. And then, because my wife's going to come in here and she's going to sweep everything out, so instead of having to worry about making anything permanent, I just put a little board in the ground here, so that way it can get stuck. And just pull this up, pivot it, and hold it into place, and now she can just go ahead and sweep whatever she wants. And it's quite nice. Now, in my last video, you saw that we were on a very limited budget, so we were trying to use as much recycled material as possible. Nothing here was purchased. All this was already reclaimed from our shed or from our barn and our garage. We were able to save a lot of the stuff that was just left over. Here's the roosting rack right here, and we'll go ahead and go outside. All right, we're outside right now. This is one of the 2 vents that I installed. Just went to Home Depot and picked up those simple $2.80 just typical shed vents, and just drilled a bunch of holes throughout the inside of here. That way we can help get a lot of that nice airflow. I decided to not drill a large hole and put a computer fan or a DC powered fan and solar power and everything, just because when I put that door in, I realized how much of an airflow that had, and we really didn't need too much of the airflow, or I didn't need too much of the forced airflow. This gutter right here, this is a reclaimed gutter that we had from the sunroom. On our sunroom, when we first moved in, the shingles, or I had a roof leak, and it turned out that the shingles were being pushed up by an ice dam, and we fixed the sunroom, and then I had another leak, thinking that that the ice dam was fixed, or thinking that the part of the roof was repaired, but it wasn't, and it turned out that the leak was actually coming from underneath here. So I just ended up tearing this down and putting up the old downspout and everything. So it cost me a whole $0. And then nice little rain catch going into here. This is just a simple 30-gallon rain catch. We had some drizzles last night, so you can see some of the water that's in there. It'll help us save trips having to bring water all the way out here. You can see here it's a nice little cleared area. We had a bunch of old fencing that was sitting in our barn and taking up a bunch of room, and because we definitely don't want any raccoons, skunks, or any of those pesky critters to get in and kill our chickens, we want to make this as hard as possible for them to get in. I was telling my wife that if a chicken gets in, or if a pest gets in and gets the chicken, I want it to work like crazy to get it. So my wife went ahead and cut this. This is about 2.5 feet wide, and we wrapped it all the way around the coop. And so that way it's going to have to dig quite a bit just to get underneath it. This cost a whole $0. This is Max here. He's our chicken dog. He comes in and plays with the chickens, but he doesn't hurt them. But anyways, so this is the outside of the door right here. Put a nice little ramp right here, and I also put this on a hinge just in case we decided to make it like a little automatic moat door. So that way it'll be really hard for critters to get up here. And the hinges, I forgot to tell you, the hinges came off of our old garden door that we had in here. And they're still nice. They were about $6 3 years ago. And they're doing really well. Now the only problem with this this blown wall here is that there are some spaces, so we went ahead and filled it in with some insulation. And I'm just going to come back and go ahead and caulk over this so that way no water gets in. All this wood was, of course, recycled wood out of our barn, and it cost us a whole $0. So, watch it, buddy, you're bursting. So, my wife wanted some roosting bars just so to keep the chickens up off the snow in the wintertime, or just so they can kind of hang out and chill. And we were trying to figure out a way to do some roosting bars, and she likes that nice natural look. We were originally just going to take some buckets, put them off the ground, and put a piece of conduit across it. But actually, I like this a lot better. But this is the wood from a reclaimed cherry tree. Well, I don't want to say it's reclaimed really, but we had chopped some parts of a cherry tree down, and excuse me, and it was just sitting here, and it was getting seasoned for our wood burner, but we had quite a bit of mold and everything sitting on it, so we just went ahead and cleaned it off and made these nice little roosting bars. And then I'll show you the other one we made over here. Here's the other one we have here. This is about 8.5 to 9 feet long, just a little guesstimate. We have it just sitting on 3 more cherry stumps, and went ahead and just drilled in a little bit and screwed all the way through so it had that nice natural look. And we didn't use any kind of brackets or mounts or anything like that. It was quite easy. So this way, this will last quite a long time for the chickens. And it's easy for us to move if we need to move it to another area, so it's not too permanent. All right, we're standing at almost at the end of the chicken coop. This is one of our paddocks that we have here. I think we have 5 paddocks. We used the fencing right here. It was some recycled fencing we had sitting in our barn, and we were able to successfully make sure we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 paddocks right here. They're right around 8 to 10 inches long, or wide, I should say, depending on what we're using, and they are 10 feet deep. So we have quite a bit of room for the chickens just to go ahead and mosey around, and we don't have to worry about them overgrazing certain areas. This part right here, we're going to keep open at all times, of course, because they have the roosting bars in the corner in here and in the shade. But we're not too concerned just because it's quite a big area. And like everything we've been trying to do, this cost a whopping $0. Well, the problem that we kind of noticed is we brought a few of the chickens out here, and we figured because of all these trees, this used to be an old fruit orchard, and we thought there'd be enough shade. The only problem is we don't really have any shade right here, so the chickens were really baking one day, and my wife, she wanted to make some shade, and we had this frame from an old crib just sitting around. We bought this crib from a garage sale, and it turned out that a lot of the parts that we had were missing. So we threw the crib away, but I wanted to keep the frame because the frame was perfect for something that we were planning on using. And one year we used it for a small little mobile greenhouse for when we started our seeds down in the basement, and now it's going to be a permanent piece of shade. Since the sun is mostly pointing over here, which is south, they'll have quite a bit of shade, and we went ahead and just slanted the roof so that way they don't get soaked. If we need to, we can put some plastic on here. This is not pressure treated board, but you know, in the spirit of not spending any money, this cost a whole whopping $0. Alrighty, I'm up here about 10 feet off the ground where I have my security camera installed. This is an IP address camera that we use, and it's the same camera that we had in our original mobile chicken coop. And the reason we put a camera in our chicken coop was because my wife, very first time we had chickens, we wanted to make sure the temperature was okay, so we had a thermometer in there. We wanted to make sure that the water wasn't frozen, and then we were really excited to see when the chicken laid its very first egg. So overall, we just wanted to be able to spy on them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and also my father-in-law really wanted to be able to see them. Now, we weren't sure because in the previous videos I've explained that we live on a long acre, and I wasn't exactly sure if we were going to be able to get enough Ethernet signal out here in order to hook up this camera. Well, I went ahead and just went to Home Depot and picked up another 150 feet of cable, excuse me, another 150 feet of cable, and hooked it up, and lo and behold, it's working perfectly. Now, fortunately, I can watch this when I'm at work. I have an app on my phone. My wife has an app on her phone. She can watch it. My father-in-law can watch it in his computer at home, and we can watch it wherever we are, whatever computer we are, as long as we have the IP address and the username and password, we can see it. And then, of course, you can watch it on your home network. This is a night vision. It's fairly water resistant, and but I still don't recommend it being, completely out in elements. This is still operational below freezing. We had this in the chicken coop, and it was about 10 to 15 degrees outside, and it still worked fantastic. It does get a little warm, so it probably just keeps itself a little warm, and on top of it, we had the chickens, sitting on top of it. But I wanted to also keep water off of it, so I just took a simple 5-gallon Home Depot bucket, trimmed it, made it a little housing, and it rained quite a bit yesterday, and it turned out that when I pushed this, you can see a little bit more now, when I pushed that down, it had actually collected quite a bit of rain. And then in the wintertime, what we'll do is we will install this inside the actual chicken coop so we can monitor the temperature, make sure all the chickens are doing okay. Main purpose of this outside here is we have the automatic door that I want to make sure is functioning, and just to make sure that there aren't any critters or predators, and that the overall health of the chickens are doing okay. Alright, well, this is Max and Mike signing off. I hope you like this video, and if you do like the video, please click the like button down in the corner, and if you had any comments or questions, please leave them down in the comment section, or if you had an extended question that you wanted me to respond to personally, please email us at farminghealthy.com. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.